What's up guys, it's Will back again, and today's review is The Magnificent Seven. The Magnificent Seven is a Western action film that was directed by Antoine Fuqua and is a remake of the 1960 film of the same name, which was a remake of the 1954 Japanese film Seven Samurai. Well, The Magnificent Seven takes place in the 1870s American West shortly after the American Civil War, where the town of Rose Creek is forcefully invaded by an outlaw named Bartholomew Bogue, played by Peter Saarsgard. Well, after Mr. Bogue and his army flex their muscles a little bit and silence some townsfolk that defy them, specifically a farmer by the name of Matthew Cullen who they shoot and kill, the townspeople begin searching for some outside assistance to help them tackle this issue head on. That's where Emma Cullen, the widow of Matthew Cullen, played by Haley Bennett, comes in. She runs into Denzel Washington's character, a bounty hunter by the name of Sam Chisholm, who she eventually hires to protect her town. Sam knows he needs more strong men to help him with this job, so he sets out to recruit 6 of the finest warriors he's ever known, and eventually you get your Magnificent Seven. The rest of the film is spent primarily with our Magnificent Seven and Emma Cullen as they prepare and eventually engage in all-out war with the army of Bartholomew Bogue for the town of Rose Creek. Okay, so to be completely honest with you guys, I thought this movie was gonna suck. In a ton of movies I saw in theaters, they showed that same Magnificent Seven trailer, and I was like, I just don't think this movie's gonna end up being a quality one. It looks sort of hokey and possibly even outdated. Well, I was definitely wrong, because while it's certainly not perfect, this is mostly a very well done film. The story itself does feel old-fashioned at times, but I think you can mostly chalk that up to the fact that it's a Western. Western films can be sort of polarizing because I know that some people either love them or hate them. This story, considering it originates from 1954, is very Western. It has all the elements you'd expect a Western to have, like cowboys engaging in shootouts, what seems like the constant riding of horses, the general cowboy attire, and so forth. But while this story does feel a little old in certain spots, I do think that it overall feels refreshed or remodeled enough that you can definitely enjoy it in 2016. This is a pretty formulaic movie in that it follows your standard 3-act structure with all the beats being in the exact places you'd expect them to be. But this totally works because it's executed at a high level for the majority of the film. Act 1 is exciting because it gives us an idea of what kind of villain we're dealing with in Bartholomew Bogue and just how formidable his forces are, and we also get fun and energetic introductions into our 8 main characters that allow us to eventually invest in them. Act 2 is spent preparing for the fight and exploring our main characters a little further, and Act 3 is the battle. The entire film is really spent building up to an epic final showdown that delivers an explosive and exciting climax. On the topic of formula, this movie sort of operates like the Avengers, but with cowboys instead. It's almost the same formula. I say that because we take 7 magnificent or extraordinary people from different, sometimes clashing backgrounds that fight the battles that the innocent everyday person never could. Watching this team form and interact was honestly the best part besides the big showdown at the end of the film, because each character was so unique and had such a distinct personality that brought something special to the group dynamic. The way that this team differs from the Avengers is that while they're all strong and capable in their own special way, they don't bicker amongst themselves as much. There's really not much conflict present between the members of the Magnificent Seven because they're a little preoccupied with figuring out how to strategically overcome an overpowering army heading their way. Another way the Magnificent Seven are similar to the Avengers are that their defenses are mostly impenetrable and they're usually just one step ahead of everyone else. The bad guys they face off against are basically just target practice for our heroes, and they make pretty quick work of anyone who chooses to cross their path. This might bug some people, but I didn't necessarily mind it because you obviously don't want key characters just dying off left and right in the middle of the film in anticlimactic ways. You have to give us action to keep us entertained, while at the same time giving the heroes the edge because they're the good guys of this story, and without their presence the movie fails. Okay, so let's transition to the acting. We basically have 9 key characters in this movie, and I'll go into every single one of them for you right now. Denzel Washington plays bounty hunter Sam Chisholm, the leader of the group. Chris Pratt plays Josh Faraday, a gambling, magic-loving cowboy. Manuel Garcia-Rulfo plays Vasquez, a Mexican outlaw. Ethan Hawke plays Goodnight Robichaud, the sharpshooter. Byung-Hun Lee plays Billy Rox, the assassin. Martin Sensmeier plays Red Harvest, the Comanche warrior. Vincent D'Onfrio plays Jack Horn, the tracker. Haley Bennett plays Emma Cullen, the capable and strong farmer. And Peter Saarsgard plays Bartholomew Bogue, the outlaw and main villain of the film. In terms of the Magnificent Seven themselves, each one of the actors gave a very strong performance in their specific role, and there wasn't one single weak link. As I said, every single member carries their weight and brings something very unique to the overall group dynamic. This is a ragtag misfit group that all have their flaws, but they also have their gifts for the art of war. All the interactions between the group members are very, very well written, and a lot of banter and joking around that occurs ends up resulting in some very funny scenes. While this movie is serious, there are some very funny scenes sprinkled in there as well that lighten the mood and strike a nice balance between serious and fun. Denzel is as good as he's ever been. Chris Pratt is awesome once again and very funny, and I thought Byung-Hun Lee and Martin Sensmeier shined very, very bright in this movie. Now, I didn't particularly love Peter Saarsgard's performance as Bogue because I never really felt the pure evil oozing out of his character. He just never quite sold me on his villainous nature, and while he does okay, I guess, I wouldn't go into this movie expecting some awesome menacing villain. And I know I usually say that a weak villain doesn't bode well for the overall quality of an action film like this, but the Magnificent Seven themselves were so compelling they more than compensated for the villain's shortcomings. I also really love the music in this film. It does an awesome job of capturing that Western feel and giving this movie a very familiar yet clear identity that allows for full immersion into these environments. The music combined with the scenery and costumes contributed to an environment that I found myself able to jump right into. So here's a couple things that I should note that aren't so great about this film. Firstly, the cinematography is very uneven. You have some amazing looking shots with beautiful landscapes and exciting action, then you have some awkward ones that are either out of focus or jarring. It's a fairly uneven visual experience as a whole. The way that some of the Magnificent Seven are recruited is sometimes confusing as well. Their motivations and overall reasons for joining the group are not always made clear. For some members they are, and for some members they just join for seemingly no apparent reason. They're just like, yeah, sure, I don't know you, but I'll join your group that's severely outnumbered against an outlawed army because why the hell not? There are elements of this story that feel a bit hokey or cheesy at times, and I think you'll be able to spot them pretty easily if you choose to watch this movie. But overall, I really enjoyed The Magnificent Seven, and it was a lot better than I thought it was going to be. I thought it had an exciting and well-paced story, great characters and acting, good humor and overall dialogue, and strong music. I also felt the quality of the cinematography was inconsistent at times, the villain was pretty underwhelming, and there are some unnatural plot details. I'm still going to give this film an 8.5 out of 10 and recommend that you see this one in theaters if you're looking for a well-acted action film and you enjoy westerns. So did you guys see The Magnificent Seven yet? What did you think of it? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if not, let me know whether you'd be interested in watching this film or not. And as always, if you like this video, click that like button and don't forget to subscribe to my channel for much more content like this. That's all for now though. This is WillFoxification signing off. See you in the next review.